Coming up on a special edition of Sports Night.
The Lake Show takes on the Orange for a chance at the Final Four.
Drohan and crew begin their NCAA tournament run at the J.
The baseball team looks to give themselves a chance at the postseason, their last series in Minnesota.
And for everyone's favorite time of the week, we'll take it big picture and bring you Plays of the Year.
It's our final Sports Night show of the year
right now.
Welcome back. We are so excited to give you all a little bit something different this week during our show.
We'll talk about some of our favorites from the 2021 to 2022 school year and give some highlights from the thrills of the spring sports season still playing.
And you can't get things started without talking women's lacrosse headlining spring's finale.
That's exactly right, Michael. Riding the wave of momentum from their 15-12 second-round victory over Michigan, the Lake Show looks to make their second consecutive Final Four for the first time since 2014. Lacrosse took on Syracuse in the NCAA quarterfinals on a beautiful afternoon at Martin Stadium. The Orange came out hot with the first goal of the game, but their lead would not last long. Just over a minute later, senior Hallie rushes in unassisted with the low shot and finds the back of the net. That's her first career goal to put the Cats on the board early and to tie things up. Now, Elle Hansen hits Samantha White coming down the middle for the quick score. Then, Lauren Gilbert on the free position gets her first goal of the game. In the second quarter, we've got Erin Kuykendall assisting Elle Hansen, who finishes through contact, and the Cats are up big at the half 9-2. Here we go into the third with this sneaky scoop shot from Dylan Amonte. Her teammates love that one. Let's watch it again in slow motion. She gets the pass from Kuykendall and steps past her defender, shooting from the left side into the back right of the net. What a goal by the junior. And let's show some love for the National Defensive Player of the Week, Madison Doucette. The senior had 11 saves and her highest save percentage of the season at a crazy 73.3%. After this one, off the Syracuse free position, her teammates bring it coast to coast in transition and outrun the goalkeeper with a beautiful shot by Lauren Gilbert from way downtown for her fourth goal of the afternoon. The Wildcats defeat Syracuse 15-4 and move on to the Final Four in Baltimore on Friday, where they'll get the rematch with the North Carolina Tar Heels. For Northwestern to enact revenge against the Tar Heels, they'll have to overtake the nation's second-ranked offense. Thankfully for the Cats, they come in at 10th. The matchup looks to be a shootout. Opening draw will be at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN News. And now we welcome in Raj Ganeker, where we're going to be having a little bit of a different feel to our show tonight. We're going to be having questions coming from our side lounge from a couple of different people. So Raj, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Matt. My question is, this year, a lot of teams, they had their struggles, but at the same time, a ton of teams did really, really well. With the new class coming in, which team do you think has the most potential next year?
All right, guys, I'll get us started. Raj, thank you. I'm going to have to say Northwestern men's soccer, like you said, one of the teams that kind of struggled this year, going 6-9-3 overall and 3-5 in Big Ten play. But there were some bright spots, including a Big Ten tourney first-round win after stunning number 10 Maryland in penalty kicks. Coming into next season, the Cats sport the 10th ranked incoming recruiting class in the nation, and to complement that, some vets still have time left in Evanston, leading goal scorer Justin Weiss, assist leader Vicente Castro. Major point of concern for the Cats, probably the departure of Miha Miskovic from the goal, but I have a ton of faith in head coach Russell Payne, who is a 4-year starting goalie himself at Maryland, to take care of business in his second year at the helm. This team has a lot of business to take care of next year. Excited to see what they can accomplish.
Love that pick, Hallie. For me, it's no surprise. I'm taking one of the best teams on campus, the Lake Show. This team has potential year in, year out, but with those 2 5-star recruits that they already have committed in Abigail Locasio and Carly Fleischer, I think the sky is truly the limit this year. This team put together an incredible season, especially when you consider that their leader from last year, Izzy Skane, sat out the season with that ACL tear. But the cornerstone of this team, I think, ultimately comes back to Coach Kelly Amante Hiller. Her ability to prepare her team for this postseason specifically has been stellar. She's undefeated in 20-plus home NCAA tournament games in her tenure, and of course those 7 championships don't hurt at all. And she has also made it to the past 2 Final Fours, and that has shown that she hasn't lost any of that coaching ability that she had from those championships in the late 2000s.
Matt, that's a good pick because that's a consistent team. I'm going to go for a team that is not as consistent, Northwestern football. The reason I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for next year is, first off, because it's 2022. Northwestern is known to be good in the even year, and I know that's superstitious, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. 2018 Big Ten championship appearance, 2020 Big Ten championship appearance, and next year Northwestern getting a new quarterback in Jack Lausch, who during his senior year posted 2,447 passing yards, 1,084 rushing yards, and totaled for 41 touchdowns. Hopefully he can get in that starting quarterback position and offer some consistency. And they're gonna, I think he can serve Mike Bajakian's offense really well just because of that dual threat positioning. And I'm just gonna give Northwestern football that benefit of the doubt next year.
Bold to say the least. I'm gonna go for a team that has been under the radar. It's the women's tennis team. They're 8-3 in conference, 14-10 overall, and they're not losing many key pieces, which is why I look to them. Emma Lazick is the lone singles player graduating, meaning that Northwestern's going to be returning essentially their entire singles lineup, and then allowing for young players such as current first-year Kylie Rabjans or incoming first-year Jennifer Reister to break into the rotation. I mean, both were marked as 5 stars in their respective classes, so clearly there is no shortage of talent. And then if you look at the roster currently, they have Clarissa Hand at the top of the lineup, one of the best in the conference. She's coming back for her 5th year. Cindy Pratt broke out in her freshman campaign. Maria Shusharina is a stud. Outside of those 3, Claire Pollard has options galore. Brianna Crowley, Christina Hand, just to fill out that lineup. I mean, I'm throwing a lot of names at you right now, but it's because there are just a lot of names to note, honestly. So really headlined by veteran leadership, I look for the Cats to take a huge leap of improvement.
Love that pick, Michael. Don't go anywhere because we have all the action from the Evanston Softball Regional coming up next.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to this special edition of Sports Night. As the lacrosse team heads to the Final Four, the Northwestern softball team is also making the most of their season.
Northwestern softball competed this past weekend in the Evanston Regional. Let's take a look back on how they did. The first matchup for the Cats was against the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, and get used to this because the Bats were on fire all weekend. Maeve Nelson getting the party started with this bomb to center. But it wasn't just the Bats. Danielle Williams had herself a day. Here's 2 of her 8 strikeouts, only allowing 4 hits in 7 complete innings. This one quickly got out of hand for the Grizzlies in the 5th inning, where NU put up 5 to secure the victory and position themselves 1 win away from the championship game. Moving to game 2, it's the McNeese Cowgirls. Here's Skylar Shellmeyer steals home after catcher Chloe Gomez makes a mistake and throws to second. In the 4th, Cats up 6-3, and Jordan Rudd gives this ball a ride up and over the left field fence. That one was high off the Welsh Ryan wall. Top 5 and pitch hitter Ayanna Lindsay gets her 2nd homer of the year to cap off an offensive explosion for Northwestern. They win this one 17-3 in 5 innings. A great overall team effort in this game from the Cats. Next up, it's going to be the championship game, bottom of the 3rd, and Rudd puts this one off the wall, bringing home Lewis and Shellmeyer. Cats are now going to be up 3-0. At the plate, Angela Zedak with a comfortable lead, and she takes a hack at that pitch, and that ball is on top of Welsh Ryan. You will never see that ball again. It can go get drinks with the other 3,000 home run balls that live up there. Final out of an incredibly smooth regional for the Wildcats, Nikki Cochran takes it herself, and the Cats win this one 10-2 in 5 innings. The Cats are not done yet as they travel to Tempe for the Tempe Super Regional this Friday and Saturday. Moving back to our side studio and now welcoming Margaret Fleming to dive a little bit deeper into Northwestern's overall highlights of this year.
Thanks, Hallie. We saw a lot of record-breaking and memorable performances by the Wildcats this year. We saw players like Veronica Burton, Pete Nance, and Lauren Gilbert come in clutch to carry their teams to victory over some highly ranked opponents. My question for the panelists is, what do you all think was the best single-game performance by any Wildcat this year?
You know, I think I'm going to head to the gridiron on this one. I'm looking at running back Evan Hull, 216-yard, 2-touchdown outburst in a 35-6 win over Ohio Bobcats. Now, there were not that many highs for Northwestern football this season, but the incredible Hull was doing the thing all year long. He was essentially the only way Northwestern could consistently move the ball forward through his 1,000-yard tally and 5-yard average. You can see that acceleration that he has to blow by defenders. Ohio didn't stand much of a chance on that day because when the Hull is on, that size and burst is something to marvel at. Now, I'm excited to see what Hull will do this year in a very talented backfield with Cam Porter returning.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach, and I think I'm going to win this one because not only is this the best single-game performance to benefit Northwestern athletics, but this performance benefited his country. Federico Burdisso, an Italian native but proud Northwestern swimmer, won bronze at the Tokyo Olympics in the men's 200 butterfly and the men's 4x1 medley relay while competing for Italy. I feel like this athlete goes a little bit underlooked at Northwestern just because swimming isn't as much of a sport that is publicized on social media. But he won a medal on the highest stage, and I don't think it would be fair to not include him in who has the best performance.
Love that pick, Hallie. I'm going to take it to the golf course because not since David Lipsky no one has won the individual Big Ten championship since 2010, but a Wildcat golfer has done that and stood atop the conference, and that's David Neifjol. When he took the win in one of our personal favorite places, French Lick, Indiana, at the Pete Dye course, he shot a 1-under par across 4 rounds, the only golfer out of the 64-player field to do so. And Neifjol was on fire in the first round, specifically carding a 4-under, which at the time was good for T3. He followed that up with a solid even par in the second round. And in the final round, he held it together through a difficult 18 to his standards, where he shot 3 over, but that rocketed him past the Big Ten Golfer of the Year in Adrian Dumont DeChassart. And Neifjol would go on to win the Big Ten tournament. With this performance, I think the team has a lot to build on and to go off of for next year.
Definitely a super impressive performance for men's golf, but I'm going to go back to winter and to January when Northwestern women's basketball traveled to Iowa City to take on the then number 22 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark. In her 4 years in Evanston, VB was obviously a star, but this performance on the road against a ranked opponent was absolutely unreal. The entire Wildcats squad really showed out in this one, with Courtney Shaw putting up 11 rebounds and Mel Daly just a first year with 22 points of her own. But it was Veronica Burton's stat line that would carry the team. She put up 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and a then career high 8 steals. She'd have 9 later in the season, so very impressive. Definitely living up to that backcourt burglar name. Now she's balling out in Dallas after going number 7 overall in the WNBA draft. Definitely very excited to watch Veronica at the next level, but I'll never forget this performance from Iowa City. And while it might only be May, Michael got us started. It's never too early to start thinking about Northwestern football. And here to tell us a little something about what the starting lineup could look like in the fall are our very own Lawrence Price and Bradley Locker.
Thanks, Hallie. I'm here with my guy, Brad. And like Allie said, it's never too late or early to talk about football. This time, 3 months away from kickoff of the Northwestern football team. So we decided to look at who we think are going to be the starters for the team. We're going to start off with the offense, and we're going to do first the lockdown players we know that are going to be out there. You take it off.
Yeah, we'll start with the 2 receivers, Bryce Kurtz and Malik Washington. Then the 2 tackles, Peter Skoronsky, potential top 10 pick, and then Ethan Wiedeker. And how about Evan Hull, the running back, had over 1,000 yards last season. Some good options in that room. Cam Porter coming back from injury, Trey Tyus, and Andrew Clare. But Lawrence, I think Hull is the top dog in that room.
And now the second group that we have, Josh Preeb, Charlie Schmidt, and the graduate transfer from Colorado State. We think Vince Viscosi is going to round out the offensive line, and then Charlie Mangieri at the tight end. He's going to share some time with Marshall Lang, but we're going to give him the start. Who else do you think is going to be there, Brad?
Well, Lawrence, the big 2 left, my 3rd wide receiver and the quarterback. Start with the 3rd wide receiver, Jacob Gill, the first year, got a lot of snaps last year behind Stephon Robinson and co. And then I do think Pat Fitzgerald will trust in Ryan Helinski. Don't think he gives up on the junior just yet. Just too much talent left to prove. Who do you have starting off?
Y'all like the transition. You're going to like my starters. I say Jensen Hooper-Price and Brendan Sullivan. I think Brendan Sullivan, he might not start the season at quarterback. It might be Ryan Helinski by the end of the season. I think Coach Fitz and Coach Bajakian are going to hand over the keys. Jensen Hooper-Price, he started for the team, been the 4-5 wide receiver guy last few years. I think he's going to get the start. And now on to the defense. The defense with a lot of changes, losing guys like Chris Bergen and Brandon Joseph, a lot of guys on the defensive line and linebacker. But the lockdowns, of course, Tommy, number 99 on the D-line, Bryce Gallagher at linebacker. In a deep sky room, A.J. Hampton, Cam Mitchell, and Coco Azima or Azima. We're going to see a lot of those, or those are going to be the lockdown guys.
And some other guys we think are going to be huge contributors, Ryan Johnson, the defensive tackle or defensive lineman from Stanford, Wendell Davis, the middle linebacker from Pitt. And we think Rod Hurd, former corner, is going to move to free safety, kind of fill that vacancy from Brandon Joseph. And then Lawrence, who do you have starting on the final 3?
Well, I got Xander Mueller and Sean McLaughlin, 2 guys that we saw get some reps last year. I think they're just going to roll into the other starting spots. And then the transfer from Indiana State, Bart, I think is going to be between him and Tayshaun Holmes, but I'm going to give him the start.
You mentioned Tayshaun Holmes. I have him as my 2nd defensive tackle, joined by the 2nd-year Najee Story on the defensive line, a massive presence at 6'4". And I think Matt Uline, the highest touted linebacking recruit in Northwestern history, finally sees the field after not playing any snaps in his first year in Evanston. Of course, can't forget about the specialists. How about the kicker, Jack Olson, coming over from Michigan State, sitting behind Charlie Kubander last year. We know that didn't really go as planned. And then how about a punter, Luke Akers, also coming over from UCLA. His dad was in the NFL, David, a longtime kicker. I think Luke might want to kick a little bit in Evanston for now. I think he'll have a consolation prize of punting. Should be a much better special teams unit, although Derek Adams had a pretty underrated year. And that's going to round it out for our projected starters here in Northwestern football with kickoff just over 3 months away.
Thanks, Brad. You heard it here first. Clip that give you a little bit of Ryan Clark, Dan Arlovsky action. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll have a little bit of a memorial for the Northwestern baseball season and give you some more Northwestern exciting sports moments to unpack.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Welcome back to Sports Night. As the lacrosse and softball teams move on with their seasons, the Northwestern baseball team had a bit of an earlier end.
Northwestern baseball came into the weekend with the season quite literally on the line. Josh Reynolds' team entered their 3-game set versus Minnesota, 10th in the conference, but eyeing that 8th and final seed in the Big Ten tournament. Wildcats needed to not just win their series against the Gophers, but have a handful of out-of-town results go their way if they wanted a shot at going to Omaha. Now we go to Siebert Field in the Twin Cities. Northwestern, again, desperate to win a couple of games here. And take down 4, Jay Bashir says, let me take care of that. Bases juice. That ball is deep over the left field wall. Game-tying grand slam for the sophomore. He's saying, we are not done yet. Bashir's now on the other side dealing with the bases loaded, and he gets a ground ball to second base, flips it to Livermore. Livermore fires to first, but the runner is safe. Minnesota tags on a run. They'd hang on in the 9th, take game 1, but Northwestern still has a chance, hanging by a thread. And Anthony Colarco says, let me take care of that. Oppo Taco over the left field wall. The senior putting the team on his back. He doesn't want to end his collegiate career. He had 5 hits, 5 RBI, and Northwestern hangs on in game 2. It makes for a do-or-die Saturday baseball, and Ruben Fontes wants it as much as anyone. The Big Ten Player of the Week sends this one to the warning track. It scores 2 for Northwestern, and they would hang on to take this one and wait now to see if Purdue can pick up a loss that would put them in the tournament. Yet that Purdue result never came. Due to the threat of rain in West Lafayette, the game was eventually called off. So even though the Cats won, Purdue's lack of result propelled the Boilermakers to Omaha. Now, in a truly heartbreaking way for a season to end, Northwestern concludes the season at 24-27 with a 10-14 conference record, and they will still look for that over 500 year. Now, let's pick up the vibes a little bit, though. I see a one Matt Saperstein over in the side studio, and I think he's over there to do just that.
This year was filled with some pretty exciting moments. We've seen some walk-offs, some upsets, some record-breaking plays, and some national championships. What was the most exciting Northwestern sports moment this year?
Thanks, Matt. And like you said, we've got some national champions here at Northwestern from this year. So I think this one kind of goes without saying, but there's not a doubt in anyone's mind that this was one of, if not the best moment for Northwestern sports this year. The field hockey Cats had an outstanding season and topped it off with a terrific run through the NCAA tourney to win the national title. They started with a 2-0 win over North Carolina, a 1-0 win and a Big Ten battle against Iowa, and then a 2-1 semifinal win over Harvard. And in the finals, they took on number 9 Liberty, and goals from Aaliyah Marshall and Maddie Zimmer would take them the distance, with the Cats coming out on top and taking home the first national championship in program history. So yeah, what a run for the Wildcat field hockey squad, and like you saw, they'd return home to Evanston and celebrate as national champions.
That's a great pick, Hallie. And with all this nice weather that we've been having lately, I don't really want to think about the dead of winter, but there's one moment back then that I do not mind reminiscing on. It's when the Michigan Wolverines were in town to take on Veronica Burton and the rest of the women's basketball crew. This game was back and forth from the beginning, and while the now WNBA star Burton had an off night from the field, only shooting 2 for 13, she was dishing to her teammates, coming up with 13 assists and 8 rebounds. Jillian Brown was the true star of this game, though, as she came up clutch with this bucket in the 4th, and Burton, for her part, did come up with these clutch free throws in the second overtime. On the defensive end, Melanie Daly came up with this clutch clamps to stop Michigan from having a chance to pull out that victory. And I think that Burton really summed it up best when she said that it took a lot of heart to win that one, and when you're that deep into a game and you're on the brink of giving up, you really just have to dig in. And that, I think, really showed on the court.
Well, I want to jump back to Hallie for a second and say that the best sports moment might be right in front of our eyes coming up, possibly tomorrow if things go in Northwestern lacrosse's favor. But for my pick, I'm going to say Ryan Deacon winning NCAAs in the 157-pound category. He went a perfect 18-0 record all year and finished in 3rd during his senior year. And he decided no, that was not good enough for him. He came back and won a national championship during his grad year. You can see in this moment he'll end up running over to his family. Truly a special moment, a really cool story, Ryan Deacon. And I think that this earns him easily a spot on this show and for Performance of the Year.
Well, I'm going to just ask a question. Where were you when Maeve Nelson put the nation on notice with a single swing of the bat? Now, down 1, bottom of the 8th, facing number 3 UCLA's Megan Faramo, and Nelson sent this ball flying over the center field wall. This was not just a moment, it was what propelled Northwestern into the national conversation to let skeptics know that the Wildcats can hang with anyone in the country, and it's why they are going to Tempe. Now, from there, Northwestern would go 6-3 in their remaining play against ranked opponents. There was already a fire under this team, but Maeve Nelson's walk-off made an inferno.
Stay right there because we've got Plays of the Year coming up next.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for the sweet victories, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back, and as we close out our final show, instead of Plays of the Week, we are bringing you Plays of the Year. Let's take a look at all of our favorites.
Now here's an honorable mention. Veronica Burton takes this one up against UIC. A massive heave, buzzer beater 3 to go into halftime. Now our own Miles French was on the call here, but we're going to save your ears.
At number 3, Pete Nance, 1,000th point as a Wildcat on senior night.
And at number 2, Lauren Gilbert gets the golden goal against Syracuse earlier this year in the Ryan Fieldhouse. What a goal that was.
And at number 1, Rachel Lewis hits the homer against Purdue that puts her at the top of the leaderboard for home runs in a single season at Northwestern. Now that's going to do it for us this year. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at NNN Sports, on Instagram at NNN_sports, and you can catch all of our previous shows from this year and previous years on our YouTube at NNN Sports. For Allie, Matt, and Michael, I'm Hallie DeVore, and we will see you next fall.